Infamous Legend of Lizzie Borden, Part 2, Trial and Error. As Lizzie burned the dress, Alice told her not to let anyone see her doing that because it looked suspicious. When Alice was questioned by police, she claimed that as far as she knew, all of Lizzie's dresses were accounted for. Later, Alice went to Lizzie and Emma and told them that she was uncomfortable lying to police. Lizzie and Emma told Alice that she was right and go ahead and tell the police because Lizzie was innocent of the murders. So Alice went and told the police about Lizzie burning the dress. Beginning on August 8th, Lizzie appeared at an inquest hearing to see if there was enough reason to go to trial. Before criminal magistrate Josiah Blaisdell, district attorney Hosea Knowlton questioned Lizzie Borden, Bridget Sullivan, and household guest John Morris, among others. Lizzie was under the influence of prescription morphine, which possibly affected her testimony. She behaved erratically and often refused to answer a question, even if the answer would be beneficial to her. She often contradicted herself and provided alternate accounts of what she did the morning of the murders and where she was at the time of the occurrence. Shortly after Andrew came home, he asked where Abby was, and Lizzie replied that she had received a note to visit a sick friend. Neither a sick friend nor a note to Abby was ever located. She also said she removed her father's boots and put slippers on him, while police photographers clearly showed him wearing his boots. Maggie, on the other hand, never wavered from her accounts of that day, and the court found her depictions trustworthy. On the morning of the murders, Maggie said that when Andrew returned from his walk at about 10:30 a.m., the lock was jammed and she had to let him in. She testified that she heard Lizzie laugh from the top of the stairs, which Lizzie adamantly denied. John Morris gave a very constant and detailed alibi as well. Some people thought it sounded perfect, like it was concocted ahead of time. During the inquest was when it came out about Lizzie trying to buy the poison from this drugstore the day before the murders took place. This testimony was suppressed during the trial. If the only possible way to get into the Borden home was through the kitchen door, how come Lizzie and Maggie didn't see the killer? They were in and around the area all day. What happened to Andrew and Abby's wills? Andrew's will likely would have left much of his estate to his wife, who would leave little or nothing to Andrew's daughters. Alternatively, if Abby died first, Andrew's estate would automatically be left to his daughters. When the inquest adjourned, police chief arrested Lizzie. Lizzie entered a plea of not guilty to the charges of murder and was transported by rail car to jail. On August 22nd, at Lizzie's preliminary hearing, Judge Joseph Blaisdell pronounced her probably guilty and ordered her to face a grand jury and possible charges for murder of her parent. On November 7th, the grand jury met. After first refusing to issue an indictment, the jury reconvened and heard new evidence from Alice Russell, a family friend who stayed with the two Borden sisters in the days following the murders. Russell told grand jurors that she had witnessed Lizzie Borden burning a blue dress in a kitchen fire, allegedly because Lizzie said that it was covered with old paint. Coupled with the earlier testimony from Bridget Sullivan that Lizzie was wearing a blue dress on the morning of the murders, the evidence was enough to convince grand jurors to indict Lizzie for the murders of her parents. Lizzie was indicted on December 2nd. The inquest testimony was later ruled inadmissible at her trial in June 1893. It was also reported that the testimony provided in the inquest, which caused a change of opinion among her friends who have heretofore strongly maintained her innocence. On June 5th, 1893, Lizzie Borden's trial began in the New Bedford courthouse before a jury of 12 men and 3 judges. Lizzie and Emma had used some of their inheritance and hired a dream team of lawyers. The high-powered defense team included Andrew Jennings and George Robinson, who was the former governor of Massachusetts. The district attorney, Hosea M. Knowlton, and Thomas Moody argued the case for the prosecution. Moody opened carelessly, throwing Lizzie's blue frock on the prosecution table during his speech. The skulls of Abby and Andrew were also brought in. The sight of the skulls caused Lizzie to faint. Moody described Lizzie as the only person having both the motive and opportunity to commit the double murders, and then pulled from a bag the head of the axe that he had claimed Lizzie used to kill her parent. One of the most important witnesses that testified for the state was Maggie. She testified that Lizzie was the only person she saw in the home at the time Abby and Andrew were murdered. However, she did say that she had never witnessed signs of the rumored ugly relationship between Lizzie and her stepmother. Another prosecution witness, Hannah H. Gifford, disputed Maggie's assertion that all was fine between Lizzie and her stepmother. Gifford made a garment for Lizzie a few months before the murders. She described a conversation in which Lizzie called her stepmother a mean, good-for-nothing thing, and said, "I don't have much to do with her. I stay in my room most of the time." Hannah Reagan also testified. She was the matron of the police station when Lizzie was there. Reagan stated, "Emma was talking to her and bending right over her, and Lizzie says, 'Emma, you gave me away, haven't you?' She says, 'No, Lizzie, I have not.' 'You have,' she says, 'and I will let you see. I won't give 1 inch.' And she sat right up, put up her finger, and I stood in the doorway looking at both of them." Defense argued that between 8 to 13 after Andrew's murder, when Lizzie called to Maggie, that she wouldn't have had time to wash the blood off her clothes and murder weapon and then hide the murder weapon. There was also no murder weapon found, and there was a witness that saw Lizzie come out of the barn at 11:03 a.m. The presiding associate justice, Justin Dewey, who had been appointed by Robinson when he was governor, delivered a lengthy summary that supported the defense as his charge to the jury before it was sent to deliberate on June 20th, 1893. After an hour and a half of deliberation by the jury, Lizzie was acquitted of the murders. After the trial, Lizzie and Emma briefly returned to the house, but soon purchased a 14-room home on the hill, which they named Maplecroft. They both finally got to live a lavish lifestyle with many servants and all the modern conveniences one could ask for. They had a monument constructed and placed at the site of Andrew and Abby's graves. Lizzie changed her name to Elizabeth, but that didn't help distance herself from the past. Maplecroft became a target for school children who threw objects at the house and regularly pranked and taunted her. She was abandoned by friends and church members. Newspapers basically accused her of getting away with murder. In 1897, Lizzie was accused but not charged of shoplifting while visiting Rhode Island. Lizzie began traveling frequently to New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., and elsewhere to shop and attend the theater. She also began throwing lavish parties at Maplecroft for her new friends, like actress Nance O'Neill. Lizzie met Nance in Boston around 1904, and the two quickly became close. Lizzie doted on her. Soon rumors had begun to swirl around that they were lovers. Rumors that Lizzie nor Nance acknowledged. Some accused Nance of taking advantage of Lizzie's generosity and financial support. During this time, Emma grew increasingly frustrated with Lizzie, causing her to move out in 1905. Nance's friendship with Lizzie ended just after a few years. Lizzie would remain alone for the rest of her life. Both Lizzie and Emma died spinsters. Lizzie died in June 1927, at age 66, from pneumonia after she had an operation to remove her gallbladder. Emma died a little more than a week later from chronic nephritis, which was liver disease, at the age of 76 in a nursing home in Newmarket, New Hampshire. They were buried side by side in the family plot in Oak Grove Cemetery. Lizzie left $30,000, which would be $581,000, to the Fall River Animal Rescue League, and $500, which would be $10,000, in trust for the perpetual care of her father's grave. Her closest friend and cousin each received $6,000, which is $116,000, and numerous friends and family members each received between $1,000, which is $19,000, and $5,000, which is $97,000.